Thank you. I wanted to bring awareness to information related to mental health and working with children of color. So the case I'm going to present is myself working with a child, an adolescent male, around 8 years old, and for the sake of discussing this case, I'm going to call him Malik. So I was working Malik in a group setting for children, and I noticed that Malik was visibly upset. And he was watching a little boy in the room that was twice his size. And he was making his way over to this little boy because he had already been labeled a child who would physically act out and also at times sexually act out. So Malik is upset and making his way to this little boy and saying, "Hey, I want you to stop what you're doing. Don't even think about it." And I'm looking at Malik and I'm looking at the kid that he's walking over to, and I'm thinking to myself, really? Like, this kid is really a big kid and Malik is not playing. So I focus my attention for a few seconds on the 12-year-old who was standing over another little kid, and he's really struggling with some internalized thoughts. And Malik was like, "No, don't even think about it. If you touch him, I'm gonna beat your ass." So I was like, "Malik, what is wrong with you?" He was like, "Man, you better get this motherfucker. I'm gonna kick his ass." Malik, calm down. What's wrong? And this 12-year-old boy took a step back, but it was like he couldn't really control himself. So for whatever reason, to regroup and reassess the room, I asked the little boy sitting at the table. I said, "You know what, why don't you come over here by me?" And the 12-year-old boy got upset. And he's like, "I don't want him sitting next to you. I want to play with him." And I was like, "No, I need you to sit down, please. This little kid can stay by me. He's fine. I will help him with what he needs. You don't have to help him, but I appreciate it." And Malik calms down. He kind of gives me a look and goes in another direction. So this 12-year-old is visibly trying to control himself. I can see his body sweating and his facial expressions change, his breathing change, and he decides to sit down and cross his legs to kind of self-soothe in a way, him becoming aroused. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a cycle that still hasn't been broken. I also thought to myself, how in the world did Malik catch this behavior before I did? So we decided to move away from the art activity because all the children were coloring at the time, and go into another room and provide a music therapy. So we separate the kids in groups, allow them to choose a song to dance to and create a dance routine. And this keeps Malik busy. As long as Malik is doing something, he is fine. He gets to choose who he wants. He's telling people what to do. He's giving all these directions. And once his group has finished, he's back to his normal routine. He's paying attention to everybody in the room. So this time, he focuses on a little girl. This little girl decides to walk out of the room with the baby doll. And all we hear within a few seconds is this little girl crying. Malik has decided to punch her and take the baby doll. Anytime there's a physical altercation with children, the first thing you have to do is separate them. In the mental health field, children are a higher liability. So now, Malik is being placed in a room that's secluded and away from other children, and I decide to sit in the room and engage with him. So I'm going to sit in the doorway so that my staff can still see me and how I'm interacting with Malik on both sides. And Malik is in front of me. And he's adamant that this little girl is not getting this doll back. I said, "Malik, what happened?" "Whatever, man, she's not getting his doll back." And I was like, "Well, I didn't ask you to give me the doll. I asked you what happened." The little girl is crying, "I want my doll back." Malik screams at her, "Shut up, bitch. You are not getting this doll back." So I said, okay. Apparently something happened and he is not giving her this doll back. So the staff member decides to come over and tell Malik to give her the doll. And I was like, "No, the doll is sitting over there. There's nothing wrong with it. He's not bothering the doll. And for whatever reason, she must have did something to cause him to do that." "Yeah, she's over there mistreating the doll. What type of person mistreats their baby? She's not getting this doll back." And I let the staff member know. I said, she doesn't need to get this log back. It can sit right here with me. So, staff member decides to walk away. You know what? If you want to sit here and deal with Malik, she says, have at it. So Malik and I decide to play a game of cards. One of the staff members, Miss Kim, actually brought over a red deck of cards, but Malik already had a set of blue cards. I said, okay, thank you, Miss Kim. I'll go ahead and take this red deck of cards. Malik asked me if I knew how to play a game called Casino. No, Malik, I don't know how to play a game called Casino. I've never heard of it before. Man, you never heard of Casino? You don't know how to play cards then. Okay, well, why don't you show me how to play Casino, and I'll try to learn to play it with you. He wasn't able to give me instructions on how to play. Well, playing spades, a little too complicated. Why don't we play speed? Oh yeah, okay, I know how to play that. That's cool, I know how to play that. I said, okay. Malik watches me shuffle the cards. And he was impressed by the grid I built. Oh. You know how to do that, huh? Yes, Malik, I do. Playing speed, 5 cards, 1 card, 1 card, 5 cards. If he gets 15, I get 15. And I deal the cards. First round I won. Second round he won. He played about 4 or 5 times. And it just got him really distracted. But I had to note that Malik struggled with shuffling the cards. He would put them down and place them in a certain order. And so I noticed he had a disability. One of his fingers, a part of his thumb was missing. I said, Malik, you want me to help you shuffle the cards? No, I got it, it's my deal. I said, well, why don't I shuffle the cards for you? And then I hand them back to you, and then you can deal. That was his gesture for approval. Go ahead. So I would take the cards, build a bridge, and give them back to him. One of the male staff members came over and asked me if everything was okay. I said, well, you know, we've been sitting here playing cards for a while. You want to sit here and talk to me? No, I'm good. I'm good. Good luck with that one. He starts to walk away. Good luck? Yeah, these kids had it real bad. You know what I'm saying? He had it real bad. His mom was a crackhead, and, you know, he's been through this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? Probably don't even know who his daddy is. Okay. I said, you know, that's kind of messed up. It's okay for a man to have unprotected sex and pay for sex with a woman who's visibly under the influence of a substance. He creates a child and doesn't have to be responsible for him. Well, you know how that is. You know what I'm saying? That's just a man being a man. So if that's the case, that man probably needs just as much therapy as that woman. We don't want to talk about that now, do we? Yeah, I guess you could see it like that. But at any rate, how's he gonna take care of a kid he don't even know? How's that his fault? How's that his problem? You know, now he in the system, and oh well, what are we supposed to do? You know, and if she didn't want to be a mama, that was on her. You know what? Let me stop playing games. And I turned my attention back to me. Ended up having to pick up the blue deck of cards. Sometimes need that blue pill to really get back into reality. Malik's energy has shifted because he's heard the same thing I've heard. Now he's gotten up over to the room, picked up the baby, and brought it closer to us. Malik, you done playing the game? Okay. So I go ahead and deal. 5 here, 1 here, 1 here, 5 here, 15 him, 15 me. We start to play. Hey! He looks up. You cheated me. No, I didn't, Malik. Go on and count the cards. And he counts the cards. And then he doesn't apologize. He just continues to play. He said, why are you playing with me anyway? I said, well, I'm not, Malik. What's wrong? What's wrong with me playing a friendly game of cards? He kind of looks away, but he doesn't say anything. He played a round, and he lost. Played another round, and I lost. And then he got up and went over to the baby and started punching the baby repeatedly. And I did not encourage him to stop. When he was done, he came, sat back down in front of me, and we continued to play cards. His motion to go ahead and deal. Then he starts to play, but at a slower pace. And at this point, I'm not really sure what to do. Not really sure what just happens. So the same person who brought me over the red cards, Miss Kim, comes over. Hey Malik, how you doing? Malik doesn't say anything to her. I said, Malik, can Miss Kim take the baby out of the room? No! He screams, and he snatches the baby and puts it back down. It's okay. He doesn't have to take him. So Miss Tracy decides to walk over after hearing Malik scream. Malik, how you doing? How's everything going? You've been real quiet in here and we appreciate you. Malik doesn't say anything. You want to tell us what happened? Why'd you take the baby? Malik doesn't say anything. I said, Malik, is it okay if Miss Tracy takes the baby? Malik doesn't say anything. Miss Tracy walks away. So Malik, what would you like to do? He motions, and he comes over, and he moves a few cards. I said, okay, Malik, I think I know somebody who might be able to give the baby to. And I'll let you decide if it's okay. By now, one of the male staff members has been available for about 10 or 15 minutes. And he's been watching me because I'm visibly sitting in the door. And we kind of motioned to him, not right now, because he was gonna make his way over closer to the doorway and present himself to Malik. He moved a little bit closer, but he also responded to my not right now. So Malik decides to get up and get a blanket and wrap the baby in a baby blanket. And I said, okay, Malik, I think it'll be okay if Mr. John takes this baby. What do you think? And Mr. John appears in the doorway, and immediately Malik gets up and hands his wrapped up baby doll to Mr. John, and Mr. John walks away. So we sit there for a few more minutes. Malik says, I'm tired. And I said, okay, Malik. He said, I want to lay down. I said, okay. And I sat there and watched him get up and find a comfortable place to go lay down, and he immediately fell asleep. I didn't see Malik anymore. My shift was over. It's time to go. I don't know what happened. Some weeks later, Miss Tracy finds me on a different area, working with a different population of people. And she's always a bright and lively person. She says, I've been looking for you. Come here, I want you to come with me. So I followed her into another office, and she said, I need you to know what you were dealing with. And I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. It's like out of sight, out of mind. Until she reached up and she got Malik's chart. And when she started doing that, I immediately shook my head. She said, you're gonna read this. I said, no, I'm not. I am not reading this. She said, okay, if you don't wanna read it, I'm gonna tell it to you. I said, okay, go ahead and tell me what you want me to hear. That's fine. She told me Malik's story. And for whatever reason, it just got stuck somewhere, maybe in the frontal lobe of my brain. And I walked out of the room, and I never thought about it again. Now I go through a master's program I take training for play therapy. I learned some of the things I did, some of the things I should have done, but this was after the fact. This is after having this engagement with Malik. I take an exam. I have a license now. I'm also a PhD student. I complete my PhD courses. I'm on the course of having another license. I take 40 hours of training for domestic violence, only 1 hour. I can't say I've had much training on how to deal with children of color, how do I deal with children who've been exposed to sexual trauma, both opposite sex and same sex, provide sexual trauma types of therapy, and I've worked with plenty of people who've been sexually assaulted as adults. Do I feel like I was competent enough? Possibly. Would I have liked to have gone back and done things differently? Most definitely. If Malik were standing in front of me, I don't even think he would know who I was. I don't remember or have any idea if he would remember me or the things that happened in that room. But for me, my side didn't kick in until years later when I had my own son. And he's about 4 or 5 years old. And I'm at my daughter's house, my daughter and my son-in-law's house with my grandson, who's only a few months old, and he's sitting in a chair. My grandson starts to cry. And my son, he's only 4, immediately jumps up. Mom, what's wrong with him? And I just took a complete and total journey. I mean, the sun was out shining, it was a beautiful day, birds were chirping, and then I just left. Imagine yourself walking into a room and seeing a 4-year-old version of Malik, standing over a baby crying, trying to get this baby to take a bottle. Malik has learned to feed this baby, put this baby to sleep, change this baby's diaper, but for whatever reason, this baby is not taking his bottle today. And a few minutes before Malik tried to feed the baby, he watched his mother beat the baby to death and decided to leave a dead baby and Malik in their apartment. It was something about this moment that opened my eyes to the fact that there's so much that we don't know about being unprovided adequate and effective type of care for children of color. Now we have generational trauma that we're aware of. We have a pandemic that we've been through on top of a generation of people who've lived through an epidemic. And I don't even work in person anymore. So a lot of services that were provided to children are no longer being provided. But at this point in time, we do need to start promoting awareness to providing adequate and effective types of treatment and therapy for children of color.